Story 1. There used to be many more Egyptian mummies in the world. If only we had not been obsessed with destroying them to use them for fake medicines and brown paint. Story 2. Adam West and Frank Gorshin were once removed from an event for refusing to drop their characters, Batman and the Riddler. Story 3. Nimrod was a great hunter mentioned in the Bible. The derogatory use of the term as a foolish person originated from characters sarcastically referring to Elmer Fudd as Nimrod to mock his hunting abilities in Looney Tunes. Story 4. If you chew natural chewing gum, you are still absorbing microplastics. A recent study from the University of California, Los Angeles found that a single piece of gum can shed hundreds or thousands of particles. Some gums release over 600 microplastics per gram. Both synthetic and natural gums release similar amounts. On a positive note, about 5,700 years ago, a girl spat out a wad of gum at what is now the archaeological site Silthome in Denmark. Researchers sequenced her full genome from that gum. No human remains were found, but the birch pitch gum contained her DNA. She had black hair, blue eyes, and dark skin, and her most recent meal was duck and hazelnuts. She had the Epstein-Barr virus and suffered from mononucleosis. Story 5. The cordyceps fungus that controls insects has been found not to hijack the nervous system, but the muscular system. The insect is still very much alive and aware. Story 6. You can graft a tomato to a potato. Thank you. Reading through this made my day. Odd-numbered interstates start on the west coast and go up and down. Story 7. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. Oxford started teaching in 1096, while the Aztec civilization was founded in 1325. Story 8. Winnie the Pooh lied to you. Bears do not go after beehives to eat honey. They are going after the protein-filled bees instead. Story 9. Oceanic flatworms are all hermaphroditic, and mating involves attempting to stab each other with a pair of sharp reproductive organs. This phenomenon is known as penis fencing and occurs because the worms have an open circulatory system, so any area penetrated is as good as any other. The winner then swims away before their opponent can impregnate them. Story 10. In the United Kingdom, distances are measured in miles, but the major motorways are measured in metric units, with small poles placed every 100 meters and a large sign every 500 meters, space permitting on the road verges. Story 11. Pine trees can indicate if it is going to rain. A closed pine cone suggests high humidity, signaling that rain may be approaching. Story 12. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation passed on the merchandising rights to Bluey, so the British Broadcasting Corporation acquired them. This blows my mind. Did anyone get fired for that decision? Story 13. The only basketball coach in the University of Kansas history with a losing record is James Naismith, the inventor of basketball. Story 14. A man had the hiccups continuously for 68 years, totaling 430 million hiccups. I like to share this fact with people when they are experiencing a few minutes of hiccups. Story 15. The song Hello, My Baby, Hello, My Darling, Hello, My Ragtime Gal, was written as a humorous take on the newly popularized word hello, which was encouraged as a new kind of greeting with the invention of the telephone. Story 16. Shaggy in Scooby-Doo's full name is Norville Rogers. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. Story 17. The statue of Blue Mustang, also known as Blucifer, killed its creator, Luis Jimenez, when it fell on him, severing an artery in his leg. Documentaries are not required to tell the truth. Woody Harrelson is the son of the hitman Charles Harrelson, who assassinated federal judge John H. Wood Jr. Story 18. Bookkeeper and its variants are the only words in the English language with 3 consecutive double letters. Story 19. Most pigeons you see today are descended from the domesticated pigeon. They were domesticated thousands of years ago. However, with the invention of the telegraph and telephone, along with other technological advances, they were no longer needed and were released into the wild. Pigeons tend to inhabit urban areas, where they are in close proximity to humans. Story 20. Before mushrooms, there was no soil. Mushrooms realized it was necessary to change the situation, So they began breaking down rocks and producing soil. Story 21. Alan Alda was the first and, I believe, the only actor to win 3 Emmy Awards for the same show in 3 different categories: writing, directing, and acting. Story 22. Author Harlan Ellison was fired from Disney on his first day when he joked about making an animated film featuring Disney characters. Story 23. Many food smells and tastes share the same molecular formula but differ in their molecular arrangements. These variations are called isomers. A specific type of isomer, known as enantiomers, can exhibit very distinct aromas from one another. The basic smell of spearmint are carvone and caraway. Carvone presents very different aromas. Although they possess the same molecular formula, their atoms are spatially arranged differently. They resemble your 2 hands. While similar in structure, they are fundamentally distinct. Limonene has the aroma of oranges, while limonene resembles lemons or turpentine. Menthol produces the menthol cooling effect, whereas menthol may lead to irritation. Linalool is more associated with lavender and woody scents, while linalool offers a sweeter and more floral aroma. Aspartame exists in its sweet form and features 3 bitter or tasteless forms. Structural isomers include eugenol, which is the primary scent of cloves, and isoeugenol, the main aroma of nutmeg. Both compounds are also present in various herbs such as basil, dill, and ginger. Thymol is predominantly associated with thyme, while carvacrol is linked more to oregano, despite both plants containing these isomers in varying proportions. The difference in aroma arises from how these 3-dimensional molecules interact differently with receptors in our noses and mouths. Each distinct molecular structure triggers a unique response in the nose or taste buds, much like different hand positions pressing down on a keyboard. Story 24. Pigs and horses ejaculate so much that females of their species develop a mucus plug after mating to keep it all in. I really should have edited this a long time ago, but upon further discussion, I've realized that it is the male who creates the plug and not the female. I apologize. It's been a while since class. Females do make a mucus plug when pregnant, but all female mammals produce this pregnancy plug. This particular plug is made by the male after mating to prevent backflow due to the large amount of fluid they ejaculate. For horses, it is less about the amount of fluid and more about the size and shape of the mare's cervix. It needs to be plugged or it will leak out, preventing her from becoming pregnant. The prostate is responsible for producing the biological matter that makes up the plug. It's an important distinction to me, but I don't know about you. Sorry to the 300 people who saw this before the edit. Story 25. The concept of virginity in ancient Greece did not refer to sexual purity. Instead, virginity pertained to someone who had never been married in most contexts. This recontextualization dramatically alters Greek myths as we know them today, given that the 3 virgin goddesses, Athena, Hestia, and Artemis, were not swearing off sex but rather marriage. This misunderstanding is likely due in large part to the fact that the initial translations of Greek myths were completed during a period when the average historian was strongly influenced by Christianity. As a result, many myths were rewritten or altered to better align with Christian ideals and narratives. Story 26. In Boston, Massachusetts, you can still keep a cow on the Boston Common. If you deposit a cow there is nothing anyone can do about it because, officially, the Boston Common is a cow pasture. That law has never been removed. Story 27. The most common ghost story in America is the Phantom Hitchhiker. She is a woman, often dressed in white, who hails a ride. The person who picks her up is surprised when she suddenly disappears or requests to be dropped off at a cemetery. There are many local variants. Story 28. In many European and North American countries, at least one of the most common surnames either means John's son or Smith, or both. For instance, Albania, Joni or Jonai; Armenia, Hovhannisyan; Austria, Schmid or Schmidt; Belgium, Janssens or De Smet; Bosnia, Jovanovic or Kovacevic; Bulgaria, Ivanov; Canada, Smith or Johnson; Croatia, Kovacevic; Denmark, Jensen; Faroe Islands, Hansen Johannesson, Jensen, or Johansson. Estonia, Sepp. France, Lefebvre. Germany, Schmidt. Greece, Giannidis, Giannakos, Giannatos, Giannopoulos, Gianellis, Giannioglu. Hungary, Kovacs. Ireland, Smith. Italy, Ferrari. Latvia, Jansons. Lithuania, Jankauskas. Luxembourg, Schmidt or Schmitz. Macedonia, Jovanovski or Ivanovsky. Montenegro, Ivanovic or Kovacevic. Netherlands, Jansen or Smit. Norway, Hansen, Johansson or Johnson. Poland, Kowalczyk, Kowalski or Jankowski. Portugal, Ferreira. Romania, Ionescu. Russia, Ivanov or Kuznetsov. Serbia, Jovanovic. Slovakia, Kovac or Kovacs. Slovenia, Kovacic or Kovac. Sweden, Johansson, Johnson, Jansen or Hansen. Switzerland, Schmid. Ukraine, Kovalenko or Kovalchuk. United Kingdom, Smith, Jones or Johnson. United States, Smith, Johnson, Jones or Jackson. Story 29. My favorite anatomy fun fact is that the triceps shuri, also known as the calf muscles, are referred to as the second heart of the body. When they contract, they help push venous blood back up to the heart. Story 30. The human body contains enough carbon to make 9,000 pencils. Fun fact. If you inserted one of those pencils inappropriately, you would likely regret it less than reading most online discussion threads. Story 31. Elbert Hubbard, the man who coined the phrase, "When life hands you lemons, make lemonade," went down with the Lusitania. Story 32. In the United States, the close door button on most elevators does nothing because the doors are required to stay open to satisfy accessibility regulations. It is just there to make you feel like you have control. Story 33. No Democratic candidate for president has ever won the white vote since 1964, the year the Civil Rights Act was passed. Not a single one. Story 34. If you were to take every steel wire in the suspension cables of the Golden Gate Bridge and line them up end to end, they would circle the equator 2.5 times. Story 35. The color orange is named after the fruit orange. Otters sleep in pairs and grasp each other's paws to avoid being swept away by currents. Apple seeds and cherry pits contain cyanide. Harrison Ford was a carpenter before he became famous in Hollywood. John Wilkes Booth's brother saved Abraham Lincoln's son from falling off a train platform. Story 36. John Astin, Sean Astin's father, is still alive at 95 and is the only surviving cast member of the original Addams Family show. Story 37. Coffee does not wake you up. It prevents the production of a neurochemical that makes you tired. While it may keep you awake at night, it does not reduce your overall fatigue. Morning coffee does not invigorate you. What you experience is simply the alleviation of withdrawal symptoms. Story 38. Donald Duck's middle name is Fauntleroy, and his favorite food is hot dogs. I am going to excel at trivia night. This has been on my mind for 30 years. Story 39. There is a mountain in Wyoming that moved about 25 miles at around 100 miles per hour. Geologists spent years wondering why the top of Heart Mountain is 300 million years older than the rocks it sits on, which should be impossible. The best guess is that 50 million years ago, a 500 square mile section of old rock was carried away, supported by volcanic gases. Very little of this original section remains, but Heart Mountain stands where it shouldn't be, the last evidence of the largest landslide ever found. Story 40. Some people grow 2 sets of teeth. I had a coworker open her mouth wide and show me her second set of teeth in the roof of her mouth. Freaked me out. Story 41. Hot Wheels and Matchbox are owned by the same company. Hershey Chocolate and Hershey Ice Cream are not owned by the same company and have always been 2 separate and independent entities. Story 42. The water supply for Boston and the surrounding areas required the state to buy out 4 towns in western Massachusetts in the 1930s. These towns were Enfield, Greenwich, Dana, and Prescott. In some shallow areas, you can still see the foundations of buildings and even gravestones. This area is known as the Quabbin Reservoir. Story 43. Ostriches, cassowaries, emus, and rheas are all in the ratite family. All ratite birds lay large eggs, with the ostrich laying the largest, measuring 15 centimeters in length. This makes sense, as they are large birds and lay proportionally large eggs. Now consider the kiwi. At 45 centimeters tall and averaging 7.5 pounds in weight, kiwis are also ratites. They lay eggs measuring 12 centimeters, weighing roughly 20% of the mother's body weight. This is the largest egg of any bird proportional to body size. Story 44. The invention of the chainsaw was originally intended as a birth tool, designed to assist in delivering a baby by cutting through the pelvis of a woman in labor. Story 45. If you swallow a large whole dried fruit without chewing, it can rehydrate in your gut. If it is a large dried fruit like an apple, it can clog your intestines, potentially resulting in surgery to remove it. Remember to always chew your food. Story 46. The 52 Hz whale. This specific whale can only make sounds at 52 Hz, which is too high for other whales in the region to hear. It has been tracked since 1989 and has never been spotted with other whales. Story 47. Did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? How cool is that? I feel like no one ever asks about it, but now I'm obsessed. Story 48. You think you have a skeleton inside you, but you are your brain. So you are actually trapped in a skeleton. Story 49. The United States legally considers you an adult at age 18. However, the legal drinking age is 21, while the minimum age for purchasing tobacco is 17. This is also the age at which movie theaters allow entry to R-rated films, although you must pay adult prices starting at age 13. In contrast, Disney and most other amusement parks charge adult prices starting at age 10. Car rental companies typically do not recognize you as an adult until age 25, and medical insurance companies set their age at 26. Story 50. If the population of the world were to hold hands around the equator, a significant number of people would drown. Story 51. There was an ancient culture of people in northern Canada and Greenland with their own unique DNA called the Dorset people. They became extinct around 1500. Story 52. Large wooden pepper grinders are often jokingly referred to as ruberosas. This nickname comes from Porfirio Rubirosa, a notorious playboy known for his impressive physical stature. The humorously large size of the grinders inspired this playful name. Story 53. Most people know that birds are dinosaurs and lizards are not closely related to them. Story 54. The natural discharge produced by vaginas can bleach panties. If you have a sexy black pair, don't be alarmed if the cotton liner turns red, yellow, or even white. Sometimes that discharge is visible and thick, depending on where you are in your monthly cycle. This just means you should avoid wearing the sexy panties longer than it takes for someone to take them off, as your body works to keep harmful microbes out of the area. People without vaginas likely never asked for that information. Story 55. Teach one leech to navigate a maze, then blend it and feed it to another leech, and the second leech will know the maze. Story 56. They commonly used beaver anal scent glands as a substitute for vanilla and still do so occasionally. Story 57. You have taste buds that run the entire length of your digestive tract. Among other things, they help you differentiate between a fart and a bowel movement. That sensation is a flavor. Story 58. The Mongol Empire caused a significant decrease in carbon emissions due to the large number of people killed during their conquests. Story 59. Alligator hunting once became so excessive in Louisiana that the alligator population declined, while the nutria population surged, leading to significant harm to the plant life and accelerated erosion of the Louisiana coastline. To combat this issue, alligator farms were established for the purpose of releasing alligators back into the wild. In summary, alligators played a crucial role in saving Louisiana. Story 60. A squid's brain is donut-shaped with its esophagus passing through it. If it eats something too large, it can suffer brain damage or even die. Story 61. Humans have stripes, and we glow in the dark. Both of these marking patterns cannot be seen by humans without the help of ultraviolet light. Story 62. The reason you might crave sugary foods could actually be because of your gut microbiome, which may be influencing your brain and behavior to feed it more of what it wants to eat. Story 63. Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter, designed the Chupa Chups logo and proved that every human has a unique fingerprint. Story 64. Most American men are circumcised because the man who invented cornflakes thought it would help reduce masturbation. Dr. John Kellogg was married for over 30 years and never had sexual relations with his wife. He also believed that numerous enemas would be beneficial for health. Story 65. Paxki is the plural form, pronounced punchki. Paxek is the singular form, pronounced punchek. I'm from the United States, so my pronunciation may not be accurate. Story 66. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah may have originated from an asteroid strike in the Alps that rained down debris on the surrounding area. Story 67. Okay, so you now know that a banana is a berry. However, did you know that the banana plant is an herb and is related to ginger? Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.